For what purpose does the gentleman from Northern Marianas Islands rise?
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend the rules and pass H.R. 3689.
The clerk will report the title of the bill.
H.R. 3689, a bill to provide for an extension of the legislative authority of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund, Incorporated, to establish a Vietnam Veterans Memorial Visitor Center and for other purposes.
Pursuant to the rule, the gentleman from Northern Marianas Islands, Mr. Sablan, and the gentleman from Arkansas, Mr. Young, will each control 20 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Northern Marianas Islands.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days to revise and extend their remarks and include extraneous material on the bill under consideration.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself as much time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, H.R. 3689, sponsored by the Chairman of the Committee on Natural Resources, the gentleman from West Virginia, Mr. Gregorio, and the committee's ranking member, the gentleman from Washington State, Mr. Doc Hastings, will extend the time during which the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund is authorized to establish a visitor center for the Vietnam Veterans Memorial here in Washington, D.C. Better known as the Vietnam Wall, the memorial is among the most visited sites in Washington and is an international symbol of reflection and healing. Establishing a visitor center for the memorial is critical, and more time is needed to complete the extensive planning, design, and approval processes required for such a sensitive project. This bipartisan legislation extends the authorization through 2014. Chairman Rejo has been intimately involved with the development of this visitor center, and I join him along with Representative Doc Hastings in urging our colleagues to support this bill. And I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Alaska.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for recognizing Alaska, the greatest state in the Union, the largest state in the Union, with the one congressman that does a whole job for the State of the Union. Thanks for you. I yield myself such time as I may consume. This bill was introduced by Chairman Ray Hall and Ranking Member Hastings to allow additional time for the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund to raise private funds for the construction of the underground visitor center on the mall. I ask my colleagues to join me in supporting this great piece of legislation, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves.
Mr. Speaker,
Gentleman recognized.
I have no additional speakers, but I'd like to inquire of the minority if he has any additional speakers.
I have no other additional speakers. Yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back.
Mr. Speaker, I again urge members to support the bill, and I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back. The question is, will the House suspend the rules and pass H.R. 3689? Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, 2/3 being in the affirmative.
Speaker, on that, I request the yeas and nays.
The yeas and nays are requested. All those in favor of taking this vote by the yeas and nays will rise and remain standing until counted. A sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, and the chair's prior announcement. Further proceedings on this motion will be postponed.